Hurricane Milton has made landfall on Florida's west coast as a Category 3 storm, bringing with it dangerous wind speeds and storm surge. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. The storm has already caused a deadly tornado outbreak. This is video taken earlier this evening in the Sarasota area, south of Tampa. It's where some of the strongest of Milton's winds have been battering the area a couple hours now. There's already some signs of wind damage, roofs being ripped off buildings and homes, power lines and traffic lines down.
So the storm has already produced a prolific tornado outbreak. The National Weather Service in Miami reported a record number of tornado warnings in a single day. The outbreak has now turned deadly.
On the eastern coast of Florida, in St. Lucie County, north of West Palm Beach, the sheriff's deputies says there are multiple fatalities. These are images of damage to the sheriff's office specifically. The storm damaged the parking structure, crushing several sheriff's department vehicles. The county says search and rescue operations are underway elsewhere in the county. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager has been keeping up with all the storm's impact and joins us. She's in studio. Peyton.
Steve, this information has been coming in minute by minute. Now, Milton making landfall around 90 minutes ago, but Florida has been feeling this storm all day. At least 19 tornadoes have been confirmed in Florida, and more than 100 tornado warnings were issued across the state. Even before Hurricane Milton made landfall late Wednesday evening as a Category 3 storm near Sarasota, Florida, it already made its mark across the state. Milton's powerful outer bands spawned an extensive tornado outbreak. Video shows a large wedge touching down in central Florida. Images of tornado damage in deserted Fort Myers neighborhoods were already seen Wednesday evening.
I mean, just on the ground here, you have roofing. This probably coming from a business outside of the neighborhood, but most striking, you have this home right here. Part of the roof is missing.
Similar scenes in Lake Placid, 70 miles northeast of Fort Myers. Debris tangled in trees and homes destroyed. Milton bringing high winds and torrential rainfall. Dangerous flooding conditions continue along Florida's west coast.
But a glimmer of hope for the Tampa Bay area as the surge is certainly coming up south of here.
Tampa Bay dodging the worst of Milton's storm surge with its track headed just south. Fox Weather's Robert Ray reported in Bradenton, Florida, south of Tampa.
In all these pockets, they could see up to 10 to 15 feet of storm surge, and that is after Hurricane Helene ravaged this area 2 weeks ago, bringing in 5 feet of storm surge. There are debris piles all over because there wasn't time to pick it all up.
He's in the area where Milton made landfall just after 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Fox Weather storm chaser Brandon Kopic on the ground, capturing the damage caused by the storm.
Signs completely shredded, metal just completely thrown around. Debris now could potentially be lofted. Big concerns.
Sarasota police sent out a warning on social media similar to what law enforcement agencies have been warning for days. So starting from 6 p.m. this evening until the storm passes, they're not going to be able to go out and help people. So first responders also forced to wait out the hurricane and then begin the rescue and recovery process. Steve and Heather.
All right, Peyton Yeager in studio. Thanks.
All right, so let's look at some of the intense rain and wind on the east coast of Florida.
So this video was taken by a Fox Weather meteorologist while stationed in Cocoa Beach. That's outside Orlando this afternoon. Chief Meteorologist Dan Henry. Dan.
Hey there, Steve and Heather. Yeah, it was several hours prior to Milton making landfall that we saw intense thunderstorm bands move across the state of Florida and produce numerous tornado touchdowns. We showed you some of the video from that. There was a couple reports there around Fort Myers, also a small cluster around Placid Lakes that we mentioned in that story by Peyton, also a couple around Lake Okeechobee, and a swarm of tornadoes also on the East Coast, especially around the Fort Pierce area and just northwest of Melbourne as well. Now, the thunderstorms at this hour are not producing any tornado warnings, but they are certainly producing some very high winds as what's left of this eye wall now continues to trudge to the northeast through Tampa. There have been numerous reports of 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts on the coast. Sarasota, Venice had a 93-mile-per-hour wind gust reported at St. Pete as well within the last 10 to 15 minutes. These are all flood warnings in effect. We've seen upwards of a foot of rain that has fallen, but the official landfall was at 8:30 this evening at Siesta Key. It was a Cat 3 when it made landfall, and you can see the worst of the weather now is all around the Tampa Bay area up through Lakeland. So these are intense squalls here that are likely producing near 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And this storm is going to track to the east-northeast right across the entire Florida peninsula. You can see some of the wind gusts here. 90 there it was at St. Pete about half an hour or so ago. And the high wind warnings will continue here for the next several hours. So it's down to a Cat 2 now with 110-mile-an-hour winds. It'll still be a Cat 1 when it passes just to the south and southeast of Orlando, and then it emerges offshore tomorrow morning. And by the afternoon, it's a strong tropical storm pulling away from the Florida peninsula.